and we're alive. We're
For
not dead.
now.
Well, according to all
5G
these
hasn't
conspiracy
gotten us
theories,
yet.
right? I mean, dude, this is. I'm worried now. See this? I'm concerned that this isn't 5G. This is 4G. But anyways, yeah,
Mine's
with
on
all these
wireless.
conspiracy theories.
Mine's
Well, this was
mine's on my Wi-Fi.
well, yes, I mostly do too, actually. Might as well. I only get like a meg and a half of data, so a gig and a half of data. So, but yeah, so we're live. There's a lot of conspiracy crap going on, so we figured today we'd kind of discuss it. I'm still waking up. I didn't sleep very well last night. I don't know why. I slept great on the weekend, but last night wasn't a good night for sleep. So, kind of bear with me here. I got
Yeah, I
Cheshire
slept
here
weird
going to
last
probably
night,
take
too.
most of it. Did you? What? Did you have any weird dreams? Because I dreamt about tornadoes last night.
I don't recall really having any
Tornadoes.
weird dreams. I think I was just streaming in my dreams, but I was like I
Wait,
slept at
you
like I
dream,
went
you
to
stream?
bed. Yeah, pretty much. And so but I went to bed at like a decent time. Slept for like I went to bed at like maybe midnight, and then I woke up by 2 because Puck was whining and wanted to go outside. So I took Puck outside, and then I was awake for like another 4 hours.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
cool, thanks, great Puck.
I had watched some tornado videos the other day, so I guess your subconscious plays in the back of your head. So, uh, I had a dream like, and I've had this same dream. It's just different versions, but you're looking at the horizon, you see all these tornadoes coming down. You know, it's supposed to mean change or something, right? Something like change in your life. Like if your teeth fall out, people have that dream too.
Oh yeah, I get that dream all the time. I hate that
Been a
dream.
long time, but yeah, but it's supposed to
I get
mean
that
that you
one
have changed.
all the time.
But I don't believe in dream interpretation. Do you?
Nah, I'm not sold on it. I think there is something to be said for dreams are akin to subconscious stuff. Like whatever you're thinking about when you go to sleep, you can kind of
Sure.
force different things if you want to, or you could maybe know you're stressed out because you're having weird dreams if you don't normally get dreams, which just means your brain's still going, right? So I don't think you
Mhm.
could interpret anything terribly specific from it, but generals, maybe. You might be able to get like general
Yeah,
stuff.
I'm okay with that. Yeah, I think that's the same way. I don't think you get any specific, actionable, intelligible information from trying to find some kind of a
Yeah.
meaning or deeper insight into a dream. No,
You might, and like
but
if you have something that's maybe reoccurring because the same thing is stressing you out over and over and over and over again. So like if you have like some kind of trauma in your life, like you were attacked by something, and so you have dreams about that kind of thing attacking you, then I don't think that's an interpretation. I think that's you're still stressed out from whatever trauma you've been through.
you know what? That explains why I'm still in the Boy Scouts talking to my Scoutmaster. Hmm. Okay. Um,
Ooh.
yeah, I don't have any like reoccurring actual dreams that have themes. So you might be right because I do have a recurring theme I've had for I don't know what it's been 25, 30 years. I don't know. That I'm back in the Navy, right? And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, how the hell after all these years am I still in the Navy? Why haven't I been discharged yet? And I'm trying to get to like admin. I'm trying to go, hey guys, I'm supposed to have been out back in October of 1993. What the hell is going on here? And
It's
nobody is going to fix it.
2020.
Yeah, I was like, something's wrong here. I should have been out a long time ago. I have had that dream consistently in different variations of a theme for a very, very, very long time. Yeah. So I guess
Yeah,
that would be
I
a
think it's
traumatic
just
experience.
yeah, it's something that stresses you out, something that like I can see stuff like that, but I don't think it's like, oh, let me interpret this weird, lucid what is it, the sleep paralysis demon? I don't think the sleep paralysis demon is like trying to give you messages.
No, that
If
demon
that
was.
makes sense.
I wasn't even scared of it. I was just like checking it out, going, "Yeah, okay, what are you gonna do?" Yeah, okay. I was like, "Okay, I don't think this is
Well,
real," and I
you're
was analyzing it.
interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
Are you a
again, all
bug?
my life,
Are you a what would you be
I've
classified
gone from
as?
being scared to go, let's check it out, let's work with this. And then I come to find out that later on in my life, nothing to do. These nothing doesn't be harmful. I mean, sleep paralysis is just sleep paralysis. I've never had any kind of harmful or detrimental effects from it, so I figured might as well go with it. But That could be a conspiracy theory too in itself, right? Demons at night, sitting on your bed.
Doing nothing.
So,
Doing
anyways,
absolutely nothing.
well, it depends. Some of them, well, like I said, one demon was just like staring at me, just looking down. It wasn't even like malicious, right? It wasn't like something that was like demonically trying to
You were
like
both doing the
get at
same
my
thing.
soul.
He was checking you
Yeah,
out. You were
yeah,
checking
that's
him
not
out.
what it
You're
was.
just like,
Yeah, exactly what it was.
I already showed you my creepy clown.
Oh, I don't like clowns. Clowns. I've never had any dreams about clowns. That would really probably freak me out too much.
Creepy clown.
So,
Okay,
what did you
so
want to talk about
today,
as far as conspiracies?
so I got sent this video that Nathan Thompson played, and I went to the original video just to check out what the flying hell this was. And it's a channel called High Impact Vlogs. It's got 285K subscribers, which is interesting since YouTube's supposedly cracking down on this kind of thing. But if you just like scroll through the description, oh my god, oh my god, like there's nothing in this in the description of the video is actually about the video, which I get. I mean, mine usually aren't. Mine usually are just like links to, everybody who's in the video's Twitter and then whatever. But this is like, there's my weekly newsletter, any design on a t-shirt, and it goes to Teespring. Then it says, your support helps me create more content. Then it gives a P.O. box, a Patreon, and a PayPal. Then it says, snag a politically incorrect t-shirt with a link to a different merch store, then a Bitcoin wallet. And then it goes to a backup channel, a vlog channel, and a main channel, and then another one that isn't listed called Grease Monkey Vids. Then there's a BitChute channel, a Discord, a Gab, a StreetMit, a Steemit, a Minds.com, and a DLive. Then it goes to Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and then Subscribestar. Then it goes to grab a 6-in-1 flashlight / emergency charger, a solar cooker, a power bank. It's like a bunch of like emergency food, another cool flashlight, and then try out this web builder free for 7 days. Then stuff that might benefit the channel. Mobile microphone, protect yourself, best dash cam front back, GPS logger, top rated body cam, top rated water filter for 2018, my sunglasses.
Did it have wait? Did it have a face in a mug? How about a face in a mug?
I didn't see a face in a mug.
It kind of sounds like to me like there's
Glass.
always some kind of monetary thing to be had in these things.
And then I clicked over and I went to look at the description of the channel, which is just so the description says behind the scenes commentary on the main street interviews, police interaction, health and workout tips, and more. The aim of this channel is to entertain and challenge you. And then I looked at their details, and they gave an email, and I checked the email, and it's sales@republicdigital.com. It's not even like the guy who's on the channel. It's just sales. And so I looked up Republic Digital Management, and it's like a sketchy looking, like our mission is to provide a world-class support system for independent creators to utilize in their day-to-day business routine, provide world-class customer service and business guidance. Republic Digital rises above the rest. This looks like Kyle wrote it. I'll put it that way. Does that make sense? Service includes brand endorsement, content identification, protection, sponsorship, technical assistance. But then if you want to find out anything about them except for their location and their email, by the way, their email is sales@republicdigital.com. So this email does not go to this guy. It goes to this place. And so I clicked on their Find Us. Oh, and yeah, and if you want to look at anything else that they offer or like anything, you have to sign up with them. So I went to their Find Us and I found them on Google Maps. And if you zoom in on their Google Maps, they're inside of a building that's a production building called Thunder Digital Media. Thunder Digital Media is a stage. It's a production it like this address makes no, like the address is slightly different, but it's all one lot, and it's like a production lot for movies and shit. So I'm gonna go ahead and call fraud, or at least scamming and bullshitting for your money.
Well, there's always some aspect of that in any of these types of conspiracy things. I mean, first of all, information should be public for the most part. I mean, I'm fine with certain things that are privated for, Patreon and from other things if people want to do that. I got no problem with that. I don't, but I'm not against it by any stretch of imagination. But when you have these things like conspiracy theories or something about, oh, you need to know this for, just to save your life, and we're going to sell you all this stuff in case the world ends, and you need to know this information for $99.95. You can learn how to like save yourself in the case of a zombie apocalypse kind of thing. It's like they're preying on people's fears. This is what we see a lot with the
Right.
CV-19. There's a lot of people that still don't even understand social distancing. They still don't understand the reason why people are doing these things, and what an exponential infection rate is.
Yeah.
And so,
Well, we're actually going to go into that with the video.
Yep.
Can you do me a favor and pull up this guy's website that I linked to you? This is the website that comes up if you click on the very first link in this guy's video description, where he says, check out my, what does he say? Check out my, get my weekly newsletter. If you click that link that's there, this is what comes up. And if this doesn't look like a 90s pop-up, way too much shit on the screen, I don't know what does.
It's just like what was it, the MySpace kind of thing? Yeah.
You're not ready.
Yeah. These kind of things.
That's it, folks. It's like I wouldn't click on anything on that page. It just looks like one giant advertisement. Seriously.
Yeah, I have not clicked on anything because, quite frankly, I'm terrified. National Debt Clock, interactive weather map, real-time earthquake map, silver spot price, draw anything online, track all flights, gold spot price, translate anything, worldometer, Ventusky, homeschool, free Photoshop type editor.
Now Ventusky,
learn any language free.
Ventusky is actually a legitimate application. It's actually really good. I got introduced to that. It's actually a weather app. It lets you look at, stuff like that. But one legitimate thing on your entire page does not make your page legitimate.
DuckDuckGo, constellations in your area, fat loss calculator 2, Calorie King, moon phases, killed by cops. I don't know what this one is. Rasmussen polls and all market data. Then it's got two videos that link to YouTube videos. One of them does a little bloop. I don't know why. 2 t-shirts that you can click on. Order your shirt, over 80 hard-hitting designs. The sides have click below to join me on censorship-free BitChute. Another BitChute. Grab one of these coins, and it says government literally means to control the mind, and it's got a skull. Patriot flashlight.
It's like a Gallup poll, political poll.
Oh, okay. Click this image to grab this light, 7-day free trial, subscribe, email, website intro, become a Patreon. And then, what is this?
Yeah, I see. Well, I see that a lot of even content creators, they go a little overboard. Like, look, I mean, we all put our information in there, right? But when all your links are like, hey, PayPal me, PayPal me, PayPal me. It's like, it's a little bit much, right? I mean, there's a time and place.
Well,
to
what are you
yourself,
providing, right? If you scroll
most
down
of the time,
on
a lot
this,
of content creators, not much. It's just entertainment at the expense of actual facts.
if you scroll down on this, there's a 14-day free trial that you could sign up for testosterone boosters. Hi, Brian. Oh, sorry. I'm Brian. Thanks for taking time to visit my site. My intention is to create content, bracket, whether we're talking about videos, shirts, articles, sponsor recommendations, dot, 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 end bracket. That will challenge mainstream thought, question widely held beliefs, and benefit your life. I will be adding valuable and meaningful content to this site often, so be sure to subscribe, and I'll alert you by email when there's new content. I promise to never waste your time with crap you don't want to see, and your email will never be sold. Peace to you and yours.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Okay, I even tweeted something similar out the other day. I say, look, can you really call somebody a content creator if all they do is go around trying to piss off like celebrities so they can fabricate drama, right? I mean, that's not a content creator. That's called a drama creator, right? So when you have people that are just out there, just spewing crap for views, that's not a content creator to me. You're not creating anything besides drama. That's not the content that I think people really want to see for the most part. Now, some people do, and I mean, in the loosest term, if somebody says, "Well, I watch YouTube videos because I want to see, what was that thing with Worski used to have blood sports." If I want to see something like that, right? They don't care who's right or wrong. They just want to see, somebody destroyed, even if the people make stuff up. I had somebody even argue the other day that doing a debate is completely fine to use fallacies, and I was like, okay, really? Could you give me a citation for this? Because I've read a lot about debating kind of stuff, and I've never seen it as it is appropriate in a debate to use fallacies. Matter of fact, in a debate, you're supposed to avoid fallacies. Obviously, your opponent's going to call you out on them. So,
well, it depends on realistically, there's some debates that are sort of framed like wrestling matches. Like these people are just supposed to go at each other, but there's not as much of a. Yeah, there's the information's not there. Like it's not. They're not as useful to actually like the one that you had on with Aaron and G-Man. Like everybody knew that wasn't going to be an actual debate. It was just going to be a slap down, and it was, and it didn't mean it wasn't entertaining.
That kind of stuff, right? It's entertaining, but the difference is that even when you have like G-Man and Aaron, we weren't out there trying to fabricate stuff by misleading people,
right?
And that's the difference. When we see these conspiracy people out there, we see content creators that actually lie for a living. That's what they do. They lie for a living. And they're proud of it, and the people that subscribe to them, they don't care. And again, more power to you. If that's what you enjoy, I can't fault you for that, right? I mean, that's your thing. Do what you want.
It's a personal preference.
It's a personal preference, but is it really a content creator? To me, generally not. And so these conspiracy people, these flat earthers and stuff like that, I'm not going to really put them in a category of what I would think of as actual content creators, because what they're doing is they're fabricating stuff for views and for donations, and that to me is dishonest. And so sure, they're a content creator in the loosest sense of the word, but what are they creating content for? It's creating content just to have drama, just to have have something they can put out, because I don't think they have any original content that they could base upon any kind of things that are factual, because
right, evidence. It's like if you take two actual like people who are content creators and consistently good content creators, and then this other this other creator comes in, picks off of both of their content, then tries to stir some kind of pot between them, or some kind of
agitator.
Whether yes, they just come in to try and stir shit up. And like in some cases, that's not what. There are situations where this person is like shit talking this other person. So it would make sense. Like I've seen Defango do stuff like that. Like Defango will be like, okay, so this person's talking shit about this person. This person is talking shit about this person. Let's see if we can actually get to the bottom of who's saying shit and why, and see if we can get them in the same room to talk about it and get to the bottom of what the fuckery is going on. Whereas you get somebody who's like, who's going to like say pull two random creators. So let's say somebody who's going to pull like the Shills and say, and I mean like the Shills on or the Shills versus
Dick Dawson, get out of my live chat. Dick Dawson, get out.
Yeah, like the Shills versus Dead Kennedy. Like they'll try and start shit with one of them to stir shit within the group, right? So it's like, oh, I'm going to start causing problems with this one guy, and then the group will have to react to me in a specific way. So that way, maybe that guy, like, it'll cause problems. It'll cause infighting within the group, the shills. Right? Something like that.
Exactly. No, I think you're spot on, by the way, on that. I think it's like an agent provocateur thing. And I think some of them do it very coyly, too. I think a lot of them do it subtly and just so they can get one creator after
Some
another
people are
creator,
good
right?
at it. To be fair, some people are good at it. Like, okay, so
Sure.
one time Steve and I were talking and we disagreed on something, and we acted like adults, and we just either decided to drop the topic or we talked about it offline because it was like, okay, well, let's see where we actually agree or disagree. Like, fucking adults. But online, it was just like, fuck you, Steve. And Steve was like, fuck you, Chesh. Who did I get a message from?
I remember exactly your guys.
Yeah,
I'm not going to mention them, but I know exactly what you're referring to.
I'm gonna let chat see if they can guess who it was. I got a message that just said, "Are you fighting with Steve?"
I remember that. She sent that to me. Yeah. And I'm surprised that other people don't too. I mean, I'm honestly God surprised that more people are not like, doing that to like, Mikey Famine, Sweet Heathen, Nick Suter actually has gotten that, I think. But
Nick's
yeah,
definitely Nick has gotten it. Well, we know Sweet's gotten it. Sweet has gotten it a couple of times, but they backed off of her. But after she absolutely murdered by words
eviscerated.
I don't get it very often, and I think that's because people are afraid of me.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have backed off a little bit. One of these days, we'll have like I'll just kind of fight with like Dick Dawson, and we'll see if Dick Dawson gets some messages, because Dick Dawson, get out of my live chat. that's gonna be a meme one of these days, right? Dick Dawson, get out of my live chat.
I hope so. I hope that becomes a thing. I hope that becomes a thing for sure.
And I know they used to, but like I said, I think a lot of them gave up, but because it did make them look kind of idiotic, right? Because I mean, like, if anything happened, like with Nick and I, Nick disagreed with something that we disagreed on something, and like Jess said, what we do? Oh, we went in a hangout together, off air, me, him, without any crystal balls, and I think maybe I don't know if Chester was there or not, and a few other people. Oh, by the way, without any. Okay, so yeah, without any crystal balls, not Cheshire, contrary to what some conspiracy people have thought, because they've been on air together. Somebody sent me a tweet the other day that's an old tweet, but it was just like come up again, you being accused of being that account, and I'm like, no, I'm like that they've been on air together. But anyways, long story short,
fake news.
People were like, oh, Steve's pissed off Nick, and Nick's stabbing Steve in the back, and Steve is stabbing Nick in the back, and me and Nick are just going, what the hell are these people talking about?
Who are you talking about?
It was bizarre because I mean nothing.
Nick's turned traitor.
Yeah, somebody on Steve's team. Okay, whatever.
You and I have disagreed, Steve. Like we've disagreed on plenty of shit. Yeah,
never. Well, yeah, but then you go Steve's right, and you move on.
No, I don't. There's some shit I still don't think you should have done, but fuck it.
Yeah, no, right. I mean, and I love you. I mean,
it's almost like somebody can do something that you disagree with, and provided it's not like murder, you can kind of get over it.
Well, I mean, I disagree with a lot of stuff that Nick did, but do I harp on him for it? No, I told him my opinion and we move on. It's like, okay, who gives a shit? I mean, I don't take it personally if he disagrees with me on that. Not at all.
Somebody accused Manya of being me.
Well, that might be true.
I forgot about that. That happened.
That actually, I'm still figuring that one out, but I think there might be validity to that one.
I mean, to be fair, people have legitimately confused Sweet Heathen and I, which is pretty funny. And I mean, I'll take the compliment, but it's also really funny because when we were on Rum and Coke, was that last night? No, night before. When we were on Rum and Coke, me and her were like just completely same wavelength the whole time.
Yeah,
that's what I was gonna say. That's what I was gonna say.
I'm thinking to myself, I can safely say I don't think I've ever confused you two. And it would probably be awful if I did in a lot of ways, but
the only thing I remember that I know you've met, like you've you've been talking about me and said my name too sweet, or vice versa. I know that you've done that once or twice. You're looking at me and you say me and when you mean sweet.
Well, I mean, I'm always thinking about sweets, so that's probably why. Aww.
Sweet says I am Chesh, and also her mom.
My one nicety for the day. There you go.
Bool, could you do me a favor and pull up the picture that I sent you on Discord?
Yeah, give me 1 second. Like, wasn't expecting the picture. The picture's of this website, right?
Well, it's a picture of a pop-up that shows up on the website.
Yeah.
Robert, if you idle on his website,
with me.
If you idle on his website, you get this. So this is hilarious.
You get this pop-up.
People confuse me and Mikey a lot. Because we're a lot alike. Yeah.
Confuse you and Mikey? Like Mikey Famine?
Yeah. I mean, him and I like so similar.
Yeah, you look so close. You could be brothers.
Yeah, I'm telling you. I mean, we think alike. We look alike. I mean, we're both chiseled Greek Adonises. It happens. I can see it.
All right, folks, get ready for this one. Here it comes.
If you subscribed, thank you.
Thank you.
Look for an email from me. If it's not in your spam folder, mark it as if it's in your spam folder, mark it as not spam before confirming. If you didn't subscribe, drop down and give me 50 push-ups before you close this window. You need to feel some pain before you leave this site. Ha ha. Feel free to come back often. ... I'll be adding a lot of valuable content to the site. Peace to you and yours. What the fuck? I feel like his website attacked me for hanging out too long.
Do you feel violated?
I'm not sure how I feel about it, to be honest. I might be just I might be in shock.
I'm still not quite sure what the point of the whole website is. I mean, other than what he's selling, I mean,
I don't know. It says it's a newsletter
about any specific type of news, or
that's get my weekly newsletter. Don't forget to confirm. That's all it says. And then when you click on it, that's what you go to. That did not look like a newsletter to me in any way, shape, or form. It looked like I'm going to send you advertisements. I don't know. Should we give this guy's a video? I just want you guys to know who we're dealing with. So, because we kind of wanted to talk a little bit about how to recognize conspiracy garbage, and I think that guy's website's a really good start.
Do it.
While somehow tens of millions of Americans have been swindled out of 100% of their liberties by being forced to shelter in place, the psychopaths who are orchestrating this plandemic are walking around, going from their houses to the studios with the cameramen, all the sound people, all the videographers, and somehow they're able to make these little public service announcements like this one.
Okay, pause. Before he starts the announcement, because we can kind of skip the announcement. It's almost really hard to hear because of the video quality that they got going on. So 100% of your freedoms. How do we feel about that one?
All your. I like the word. He's like psychopath. He's like throwing out these hyperbolic terms. But it's like, is this one of those guys that thinks that like the entire government is all they do is just trying to eliminate your freedoms? There's like people that think that the whole CV-19 thing is just one big plot to take away civil liberties.
Yeah, this is essentially what he is saying. Helios 575 for 5. It's hard to turn traitor when you don't owe any allegiance in the first place. We're your fans, not your sycophants, and you don't mistake the two.
Yeah, no, I've got sycophants too, but not the good kind. They're actually the bad kind. But thank you for that, Helios. Yeah. By the way, and we do appreciate the super chats. Cheshire does get a portion of them, and I do pay bullinators. So I like to at least come out net positive on these caffeine corners. I'm still going to do them anyways, even if I lose money on it because I really enjoy it. But it'd be nice to at least be in the positive sometimes. Last time was
it's mostly just a don't forget to like and share because the YouTube algorithm is weird.
That's
share
good
and whatever.
YouTube
Algorithm's not going to like. Yeah, it's
I
weird.
think they've tweaked the algorithm. Yeah, I think they've changed it.
I think they did too.
And I think, and they've throttled bandwidth. They're not. I know for a fact there are people that have been saying they haven't gotten notifications properly, or they've been getting notifications late, or they've been unsubbed to channels. Yeah.
Yep.
So a lot of weird stuff.
I had to resub to Team Skeptic.
Yeah, I mean, you're not. I'm telling you, you're not the only one. It's been quite common. I'm sure Bull, you've been on. You produce for Pitmom. I'm sure over there they've had some issues, haven't they?
I had people I had that happen to mine. There were a couple of people that messaged me to be like, I wasn't subscribed. I am now. I'm pretty sure I did before.
Yeah, I've been unsubbed from channels I've been watching. Literally been watching these channels for years, and I've been unsubbed from them. And all of a sudden, I'm just
they can't even say
what
you haven't watched for a while.
No, they can't say that because I was watching them religiously, and all of a sudden, boom, can't see them.
Oh, it's worse. Like the other day, there was something that came up, and I went to go do it, and I was already like 40 minutes in.
Can we mention real quick the difference between this and an actual conspiracy theory? Because this isn't a conspiracy theory. This is like YouTube has said that they were making changes due to the COVID issue. Well, I keep calling it COVID. I keep throwing an R in there. I don't know why. It's in my brain. This COVID issue. They've said that they're making changes. They said that they're doing some stuff, and just a lot of people are suspicious because of the results of those changes have been more than what would be expected for what they actually said. So I think people are essentially basically have figured out that YouTube is using this time to essentially rework some stuff and see if they can take some stuff out and test some things and be like, well, it's because of the virus.
Yeah, but these aren't. Yeah, that's not really conspiracy theory. I think those things are plausible, right? I don't mind conjecture, and I don't mind people positing things as a hypothesis based upon observations. I'm okay with that. It's when they say, "Hey, for a fact, this is like what's happening." I don't like doing that, right? Because we don't know for a fact what YouTube's doing. We do know what is factual is that people are not getting notified. I mean, even Helios said he had to resub to you, right?
Helium Moon had to resub here and to Chesh last week.
Yeah. It's ubiquitous. I've had a lot of people tell me this, so yeah. And I don't think I've had a resub to anybody, but I know they're beginning them late notifications or no notifications of some channels.
Yeah, and nobody's saying that YouTube is doing it. Like nobody's saying what necessarily the motivation is. People are just saying it's happening. Nobody's running around saying YouTube's trying to destroy specific things. YouTube's trying to control a certain narrative. No, those claims aren't really being made in general. If we were making those kinds of claims, then you start wandering into conspiracy territory. It's usually the jumps in conclusion that if you're looking to see if somebody is going along a conspiracy mindset, it's the jumps to conclusions. So if they say this, and this, therefore this, but this thing is not indicative of it, like if this isn't the only option for whatever's going on over here, it's a conspiracy. Because you have not properly connected that, yes, this is in fact what's going on between this information. Even if this information is correct, this conclusion can't be drawn solely from this information. It could be this, 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 could be this. In fact, it could be, this one right here that's actually connected.
Yeah, like Helios just got the notification 33 minutes in the stream. There you go. And I'm like, I was accused of being a conspiracy theorist the other day on my own video when, how, we've explained to people, like, not to go down this path, but we explained to people that the term atheist has been tried to be in the negative only for political gain and demographics, right? To have more political power. This has been ubiquitous in Silverman's fighting God and Smith's case against God, American atheists. This is standard stuff. This is not even, something that's really contested at all. Yet you tell somebody that, and I had somebody say, well, that's just you sound like a conspiracy theory, Steve, that's for saying that. I'm like, they've said this. I've read their works, this is in their books. So just because it sounds conspiracy doesn't
I agree.
necessarily mean it's not true, because that is true. All right, we got more.
Yeah, go ahead and hit play.
States, and it is legally binding and is punishable by a fine or punishable by a jail sentence. Certainly don't want to crowd our jails right now with people who are just trying to get to work. I understand this. But the order reads, all individuals currently living within Dallas County, not working, living within Dallas County, are ordered to shelter at their place of residence. What that means is it doesn't matter whether your job is in Fort Worth or whether your job is in downtown Dallas or Plano. If you live here, you're under this order. Okay, any other questions before we wrap up?
If you live here, you're under house arrest. This is happening in Texas. It happened in California, New York, Florida, my state of Oklahoma. People are being forced to shelter in place, imprisoned in their own house. Ask yourselves what the founding fathers would say if they saw us just quivering in the corner and millions of us being shoved around by a couple thousand people in their law enforcers.
Pause. Yeah, the audio is horrible in this video. It's like recorded off the TV or something, you know?
Yeah, so that's actually not him. He's looking at a video that was a poor recording. So that's kind of this guy's fault because he didn't actually find the proper video, but whatever. So essentially Dallas is like, yo, we're going on lockdown. Don't leave your homes, to go out in public. And this is people not understanding the difference between what a lockdown means and don't go out in public and what it means to self-isolate. You can isolate yourself and still go outside. It doesn't mean you have to be in your basement 24/7. It just means you can't be around other people. You can go sit in your backyard. You can go for a walk around your block, provided you don't live on an incredibly busy block. If you live downtown, right? Like, as long as you are safe and you understand what social distancing is, you can actually leave your house. And if you have proper reasons to leave your house, you can leave your house. This person seems to be under the impression that, no, we're on lockdown. The police are going to shoot you if you leave your house. You're going to get arrested and you're going to go to jail. There's a guy who got fined a buttload and he's going to court in Canada. And the reason that's happening is because he had a bush party. Ontario went on lockdown and he had a bush party.
I mean, there's pastors that have been arrested, and here's the thing: we all have civil liberties. There's no question that in America here we have certain things, but some of these things need to be tempered with security, right? And here's the thing that I've always said for a very long time. I don't know if you remember, but I've always said that you cannot have 100% security and 100% free liberties, right? And free agency to do whatever the hell you want, right? And so there has to be a compromise, right? And so when it comes to the safety and security of American public, or even worldwide, certain concessions have to be made. Something has to change. This is why we have the National Guard, right? They can come out and they can enforce martial law. The government can enforce martial law in America, or if something is, if there's a safety feature, right? Something that says, look, you're in a quarantine area, you're in a hospital, Ebola struck, and nobody can leave until everybody's processed. They have the right to do that. They're not restricting your travel. What they're doing is for the safety and consideration of other people. This is no different. I mean, the COVID-19 thing is a pandemic worldwide. The governments have every right to restrict things during that time, and I think that they should. That doesn't mean they're going to shoot you if you disobey it, but there are going to be penalties for it. And I don't see what this guy's problem is. He makes it sound like what Cheshire said. You step outside your front door, there's going to be a SWAT team ready to take you out.
Yeah, this guy seems to think that I'm muted, sorry. This guy seems to think that this is what we mean by he's pushing a conspiracy. This isn't like, part of that is true. Yes, Dallas is on lockdown. Dallas is on lockdown and you have been limited in what you can and cannot do. That's not infringing on your freedom. It's the argument of your freedom to swing your arm ends when your arm hits my face. You can't put other people in danger. That's not a right. You're not allowed to harm other people. You are not free to do that because that's violating the freedom of the other person. That's what this is about. It's about limiting the amount of damage and putting less people in danger. Your freedom to gather in churches becomes limited when the freedom to do that infringes on the safety of other people, and it is doing that, and it's always been that way.
You're free to worship any way you want them from your house, and people, responsible people
Right.
are doing that, right? They're doing video conferencing on Sunday. My friend Anastasia, who's the secretary for Reasons to Believe, I talk to pretty frequently. We discuss this very thing. She is so livid that some of these religious people that she sees are just violating these things. They're saying, "Oh, no, come to Easter Sunday, come to our congregation." RTB right now is shut down. The building is shut down. Hugh Ross is like, "Hey, I'm an elderly guy. I would be affected by this. I'm not coming in. Nobody else is coming in." They shut down the entire organization for a while. They did the responsible thing, and they're a Christian organization. So when you see somebody like Pastor Greg Locke, who says he's a Christian, and he says, no, come to church, or you see these pastors going, you know what, still give us money, send us your stimulus check. God wants you to do that. That's not Christianity, in my opinion. That is fraud. That's scamming. That's trying to take advantage of people.
Yes.
There's a distinct difference to be had. This is why I like groups like RTB, even though I don't agree with their science per se, right? But I respect them as people because they're amazingly good people. And like I said, Anastasia, what she's been doing is we just have it online. Well, there you go. That's responsible. I got no problem with that.
If you're a church, particularly a Christian church, because we're talking about the United States, and the majority of churches in the United States are going to be Christian Catholic churches. If you're talking about these churches, your part of their shtick is that you should care for and take care of people. If they're asking for tithing, which they probably shouldn't be doing, their religion is based around giving that tithing back to the communities. That's one of the main reasons why they're not supposed to be taxed, or why they are considered tax exempt. If they aren't doing that, you need to take a hard fucking look at the ministry that you're following. Because the entire point of tithing check is to support the church, and the church is supposed to support the community. So if your church at this point is asking for tithing and not giving any of that tithing back by providing for maybe the elderly within their ministries that can't leave, that are in more danger, then you should take a hard look at your ministries, because that is exactly what they're supposed to be doing according to them. That's what they say they do. This is their point to step up and prove that they are not just greedy pieces of shit.
Well, they are, though. I mean, I don't.
Well, yeah, of course they are.
It was on Twitter, and I'm looking for it now. I probably won't be able to find it, and I haven't checked the veracity of it. But I think there probably is something to be said about it. But it was basically how much like people like Kenneth Copeland make, right? I guess he's like worth like $130 million or some BS like that, and how much Cephalodollar Dollar and how much all these televangelists make, right, or are worth, right? Millions of dollars. I mean, tens of millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars. I think he's worth even more than that. I think Kenneth Copeland's like almost a billionaire, some ridiculously high amount, right?
Yeah.
But how much have they donated for these for relief funds, or how much have they donated to the COVID-19? Zero. All of them combined, zero. And again, I don't know if the veracity of that is true, although I don't doubt it. But I you know what? I haven't read anywhere any of them have donated anything for it. And when Kenneth Copeland, wasn't he the one saying, we're not going to let Satan do this to us, and I command COVID to go away in the name of Jesus? Wasn't he doing that kind of shtick? And then, saying, please send us money still.
He was
and then
spitting on it.
Yeah, and then you have the advisor to Trump, whatever her name is, White, Paula White or something, and she's like, God wants you to continue to give to us, and this is a test of your faith that you send us the money, and you'll be spared from COVID, kind of thing. And that's not exactly what she said, but that's pretty much the intent of these things, and I think it's predatory. Yeah, it's definitely predatory.
And we were talking about this last week. We were talking about that pastor who was selling silver concoction to that it would cure
colloidal silver.
That it would cure COVID. Yeah, which is
yeah, and I heard that was only like that's
bullshit.
diluted. Yeah, I don't know the concentration, right? Somebody had actually said that it was diluted and it was like a homeopathy type thing, right? But it has like 1 part per billion or something. I don't know. Well, I take the chance. So you either have two things. You either have it is heavily concentrated colloidal silver, which is going to be screwing with your internal organs, or it's diluted to the point where it doesn't have barely any in it, which is water. Either way, it's a scam.
Godless Scummer for 5 says, definition of irony, conspiracy theorists who never leave their homes complaining about not being able to go out.
Yeah, well, this, a
Good
lot of this
point.
gives them ammo, right? They're like, see, we were right all along.
Yeah. It's such a bizarre, it's a bizarre double standard. But the thing is that this is like some kind of equivocation. The government is saying, don't do this because you're putting people in harm. How dare the government imprison us all in our homes? What?
Yeah, and by the way, Copeland was the guy that wanted a Gulfstream 5 or 6 or something, because God wanted him to travel around the world faster to spread the ministry. So, so yeah. By the way, like I said, people think I dog on atheists a lot. I dog on theists just as much, man. You don't think
that guy? That's the guy who had that really
these scam artists. Come on.
Isn't there a video out of somebody like legitimately asking, and he just gets really uncomfortable and angry as soon as she's like, well, why do you need this? And he's just, why do you need 2 though?
Well,
How dare you
odd days. Yeah, I mean, he got angry about that because there's no transparency. Because same reason why Benny Hinn, he was audited, his things were investigated. He got angry. Many times, Peter Popoff got stopped in his car on more than one occasion. He got angry. It's because they don't want people to recognize these people are just scammers. They're just using religion for scamming. I don't think I would, if somebody said, you know what, these people probably don't even believe in a God, I'd be like, you know what, there probably might be something to that, right? I have no idea what the hell they believe, because they're not honest people. And when you have not honest people, you don't know what their actual beliefs are, right? So I have no idea.
Because we're actually on this. Because we're actually on this, I'm going to send something to Boole that we can bring up, because it's kind of related. And it was this flooded my Twitter of everybody talking about this. So I figured we might want to talk about it today, but we kind of got onto this. But now, because we've gotten onto the religion side of things, I kind of want to pull up this Ken Ham spiel that he did. So I'm just going to send this.
I want to address this to my friend, my flat Earth friend, Ali B. A pretty well-known flat earther, but I keep him around because he's a nice guy, actually. But he says YouTube channels that take super chats and Patreon are just the same as churches. I disagree. Let me explain to you why. A lot of hours go into doing these things. I got to admit, this episode, very spur of the moment. Not going to front with you. Chester and I didn't spend a hell of a lot of time talking about it, okay? But most of the time we do kind of go over, and especially on Non Sequitur, many hours we talk about what we're going to be doing and how we're planning it. And, I do on some of my other stuff. I have to get guests. I have to come up with topics. I have to do the research. That takes time. And the reason we do that is because we think there's an entertainment value to it. And if people want to be a patron of the particular channel because they think there's a value to be had for the channel for educational or entertainment, and they want to do super chats and to show their support, that is what YouTube is predicated on. And that is what, content creators do. That's not the same as churches, because we're not trying to mislead anybody, nor is it a religious organization, and nor is it any kind of thing where, oh, God wants you to do this, right? No, nobody says you're obligated to.
Threatening
but
people.
Church says that you are. Yeah, you're not going to hell.
We're also
not
not threatening people. Yeah, and we're also not selling heaven.
Yeah, well, some of them might be going to hell if they don't support the channel.
A lot of the time, we aren't selling anything to you at all. Unless we get sponsors. If we get sponsors, I'm going to shill like a motherfucker. But we'll be open and honest about that. But that's not going to give us super chats so we can shill you this item. No, it'll be like, hey, look, Dollar Shave Club.
But the Non Sequitur merchandise is going to be collectors. That's going to be worth some money one of these days. Yeah. Yeah, I don't have a private Jeff collection. Yeah. Because I live so high on the hog, right? I treat myself to like Applebee's, and that's that's as high as I get as far as my living high on the hog.
Failed at Engineering for 5 says, don't you guys pay taxes on Patreon and YouTube earnings while churches don't? Yes.
Well, it depends on the amount. The Patreon after a certain amount will send you a 1099, and Google sends you a 1099. And so what you do is you file your taxes, you put it under 1099. But it depends on your Patreon. How much you make?
Ken Ham over here. Dear Lord. He's at a website called LifeSite, and he links this, and it says almost half Americans see coronavirus as a wake-up call from God, and it's a poll. So, okay, fine, but let's look at what Ken Ham specifically says. Quote, I form light and create darkness. I make well-being and create calamity. I am the Lord who does all these things, end quote, Isaiah 45:7. Then he goes on to say, certainly God is in total control of everything in the universe, and he has allowed this coronavirus situation for his purposes. Scroll down, please, Spool. Thank you. I do believe it's a warning to a nation that put 1 million children a year, he's talking about abortion, has told God he's not welcome in schools, rejects nativity scenes and crosses in public places, and has allowed the religion of atheism to be imposed. Imposed! It's a warning to a nation with a lot of churches, but, what? Did he spell that wrong? Is that a word?
I can't read that.
Find out if this is a word. I think it's supposed to say majority. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, he's just wrong. It's supposed to say majority. I got really confused there for a second. Sorry.
By the way, I hear that often. It's Ken Ham. He's just wrong.
A nation with a lot of churches, but majority of which are lukewarm and compromise God's word in Genesis with man's pagan religion of evolution and millions of years. And it's a warning to a nation that is at war against the family and promotes sexual perversion through drag queens, LGBTQ movements, etc. Before I keep going, millions of children a year, no. God not welcome in schools. Didn't somebody shoot up a church not too long ago while they were praying?
A couple. I mean, there's been a few churches.
So prayer didn't help there. What? Okay. Rejects nativity scenes and crosses in public places. Not really. It rejects, like, people have been against, you can't have, like, a one specific religion in, like, City Hall. Right? Like, it's City Hall, not, like, public places is kind of a very general term. There have been, like, things set up in parks and stuff, just not City Hall. Oh yeah, and has allowed the religion of atheism to be imposed.
The religion of atheism.
And it's
Which
imposed.
By the way, it's
the government imposing.
He's never once actually given any evidence that atheism is a religion, because it's not, and nor has he given any evidence that somehow it's imposed, because the government can't impose religion or freedom from religion. The government has no say either way. You know, it just, that's what separation of church and state is. It is bidirectional. It is not a one-way street. It is the Supreme Court has determined that, like, atheism is considered to be as far as freedoms and rights, same as any religion, right? If you say you're an atheist and you don't want to participate in some kind of religious events, they give you the same type of considerations. And I think that's just perfectly fine. It doesn't make it a religion, right? It just means you have the same protections and freedoms as somebody who is religious. And I think that makes sense, right? Because why would one person have specific special dispensations rather than somebody else, right? Because if I work for a company and the company says, hey, look, we're going to have a special event on Easter that's mandatory, and I say, wait a minute, I don't celebrate Easter. Why should I be forced to go to something like that? It'd be no different than an atheist saying, hey, we're having an atheist free, meeting somewhere, and these religious people have to go, and they're like, no, we're not going to go to that. We're not atheists. So yeah, it works both ways for a reason. We want that, especially someone like myself who's a secularist. I definitely want that, right? Which is, by the way,
we're up a little bit still. That, and on top of that, on top of this, Ken Ham goes into churches, the majority are lukewarm and compromise God's word in Genesis. bruh, you're the guy who's like scammed an entire county.
Yeah.
What do you think you're doing that? Like, you're just a scam just as much as these other people are. Like, just as much. Bullshit. There's a whole thing, give unto Caesar, and you're refusing to pay taxes on the land that you bought. You're a dick and a hypocrite. Okay, LGBT. Oh yeah, and blame the gays. Cool. All right.
It's
yeah.
funny you mention that because that is really true. He had made multiple promises to Williamson, Kentucky, when he built the Ark Encounter, and that was a quagmire. And by the way, they didn't see anywhere near what they were promised, right? And then he sold the thing back to themselves and did this for like $1 and this and that, which wasn't illegal. But I mean, the whole point of having the county build this thing. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I couldn't get to mute fast enough. The whole point oh my God, COVID. Oh wait, sneezing is not a symptom. But the whole point was to bring business in, bring tourism to the businesses, right? Never happened. And they are pissed. They're really pissed.
Oh, I think they're still in litigation, aren't they?
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of legal stuff going on. And I mean, I said, look, I would be very happy if one day the Ark Encounter became like, the head of the humanist organizations or even like, Satanic Temple. I wouldn't care. I really honestly wouldn't care. I think that'd be hilarious. So, wouldn't that be awesome? Wouldn't that be fucking hilarious?
Wasn't it like, didn't the Ark get like really damaged during like a rainy season?
No, it wasn't the Ark. No, it wasn't the Ark. It was the roads to the Ark that got for the rain. Right, which is
I just want to make it a gay nightclub and leave those wonderful rainbow lights that are already installed in place.
Why not?
Oh,
Why
that's
not?
a really
It's
good
already
point.
there, right?
Yeah,
they already got it covered, right?
Nice.
Make it into bring disco back.
Why is he blaming drag queens for sexual perversion?
I don't see the correlation.
I don't see that either. I see where he's coming from with the LGBTQ movement, specifically because you're talking about lesbian, gay, and bi. Trans isn't sexual. Trans doesn't refer to. Yeah, exactly. Trans and drag queens aren't necessarily related to sexual deviancy.
No,
what they would consider sexual deviancy.
Does God really care that some drag queens are doing a cabaret and singing Liza Minnelli? Why would he care? It's just like, this is something that's a concern to God. Somebody's doing Sprite, is somebody singing off key for, trying to be Barbara Streisand or something? Is this like his biggest pet peeve?
He really doesn't like that one movie that's got Wesley Snipes and
the three of them try
God.
to
yeah. You know what I'm talking about? I love that movie. I gotta go watch it now. I can't remember.
To Wong Fu, with all my love, Julie Newmar. That's the title of the movie.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That was a great movie.
Next movie night. Somebody tell Strikeling. Okay. So, it's a warning to a nation that is at war against children as they permeate their minds with wickedness through education and media.
Yeah, let's bring in the kids. What about the children?
Education.
Yeah, what about the children? What about the kids? Think of the children.
Oh God, the children have learned that 1 + 1 = 2. Oh no!
This is like one of the few people out there that have single-handedly helped destroy education in the world and dumb down children to the point where they think that man walked with dinosaurs. People like him should never even say the word education. It's just it hurts.
Right. It's a warning to a nation that views the elderly and infirmed as needing to be eliminated. Where? When? What?
Let's get rid of the old and sick people. Okay. Children, old people, and sick people.
Can we please remember that he's still talking about COVID? Is not the government's instructions to help keep the infirmed and old people safe?
I believe so. Yeah. I mean,
what?
I don't know where it says, hey, let's get rid of all these sick and infirm people. That's why they have the hospitals overflowing.
Wait. Hold on. old people not be part of the LGBTQ and drag queen communities? Can
Be all
they
of the
not
above,
be
sure.
infirmed and or old?
Yeah, that just means they're going to hell like 10 times over or something, according to him or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So all right.
Old,
So
infirm,
we're gonna
gay,
help
you're
you.
just done.
If you're a kid and you're old and you're infirmed, Ken Ham cares about you unless, unless, okay,
You're a drag queen.
unless you like wearing, unless you're a boy who likes to wear dresses, whatever. Or a girl who likes to wear jeans, I guess.
I am sorry. I cannot accept a God who gives a crap if a boy wears a dress. It's a part of clothing. Does this make you a bad person? Is God so petty that he's like, you know what? That you need to go.
You wore stripes and polka dots, bitch.
Yeah.
Go to hell.
That hemline,
God's a drag queen.
It boggles my mind how petty they think a deity must be. He's an omnipotent person who created the universe supposedly in 6,000 years ago, and he's that petty to give a crap what you wear. I'm sorry, I don't get that. I never did with the whole mixed fabrics things either. I think that was completely BS. I was like, if God ever did exist, he didn't come up with this. This was something by somebody else, right?
It's a warning to a culture where politicians and others say we need to pray about this coronavirus situation, but are not repentant about blatant sin that permeates the nation. So he's already saying that politicians pray, but was earlier complaining that atheism was imposed.
Yeah, what's the likelihood of an atheist getting into a political office position? Pretty slim. Even in 2020.
In America?
Yeah.
Good luck.
I don't think there's ever been one that's
America.
president, right?
I mean, we still, in like a good number of, it depends on where you go, right? So, like, in some places you'll be less likely to even get a woman, let alone a woman who's a lesbian who is an atheist.
Yeah, very rare.
Right? Like, I mean, the progress is there. It's just slow.
Can you imagine if we ever had a gay black woman president? It would be like, they would probably think that is, and what would be worse? This is like the worst nightmare.
I feel like she would be amazing.
But yeah,
she would be a Republican.
It probably would be. I'm not even kidding. I think they probably would be a Republican, and I have no problem with that. But can you imagine this? So can you imagine a black woman, gay president, and like the day after she gets, into office, some major calamity happens, like we get hit by an asteroid or some shit like that, and how much mileage Ken Ham would get out of that? Going, look, this is God's wrath for this, right? That would be my worst nightmare. The same thing, like when I hear like a psychic predicts something and they always get it wrong, but that one chance, that one minute case where they probably got something right and now they're freaking famous because they got lucky once because statistics. Just right. You're gonna get right eventually. So one of these days, one of these psychics is going to predict something like an earthquake or a cataclysmic event, and people are like, "Oh my God, psychic is real." It's like, no, it's going to happen. It's just pure luck, though. Let them see it do it, multiple times, then we'll talk.
Be warned, America, and all Western nations. Be warned, world. Ooh.
Yeah, by the way, it is called post hoc ergo propter hoc, if you guys haven't heard that before. Post hoc ergo propter hoc is a fallacy that something caused something else. So if X was before Y, you somehow believe that Y was a causal reason for or X was a causal reason for Y, even though there might have been no relationship whatsoever. Yeah.
My favorite response to this rant is, Corona is a work of Satan, so we should always pray. Okay.
Viruses have been around a very, very long time, and this is just a mutation of the SARS virus. So it's been around, SARS has been around for a very long time as well.
So I know some people have been asking about the 5G stuff. Do we want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. And somebody pointed out Jean Dixon syndrome. Yeah, Jean Dixon was a psychic back in the 70s. People may not even remember Jean Dixon, but she had, I think, a few lucky hits. She was a psychic to the stars kind of thing. She had a horoscope thing in the LA Times or something, and she wrote about astrology and all this other stuff. She was a pretty well-known psychic back then. She was before Miss Cleo. You guys remember Miss Cleo? Was that before your day too, Chesh?
Yeah. No, I'm familiar with Miss Cleo.
Call me now for your free tarot reading.
It's a fake accent too. Come to find out, that ruined the whole thing, right? I mean, even the accent was fake with Miss Cleo. That sucked.
Okay, so one of the things we should know about 5G is 1, no, it doesn't, and 2, no, it doesn't, and 3, the people in China were not knocking down cell towers. So, essentially, unfortunately, some famous people got a hold of this video that went viral of some people in China pulling down what they thought were cell towers. They were not cell towers. They don't even look like cell towers if you know what a cell tower looks like. It was one of the towers that has CCTV cameras on it. It was part of the protests going on in China. It wasn't even related to the... Yeah.
In UK, though, they actually did have them attack cell phone towers, and they had to respond to that. And now, I guess they're policing them. I guess they're having guards and stuff in some cases.
So this was an offshoot. The reason the people in Britain are doing this is because of this misrepresentation of what had happened in China. That's where it came from. That's where it started from. So... was it several? Did they say how many? I know of at least 4 instances where the
I don't think
arson,
I have a number, no.
Arson and damage. Yeah. I know. Okay, so I've confirmed 4, but I don't know if there's any more going on with them. Do you want me to read the article?
Yeah, go ahead.
Several cell towers in the UK have been set on fire and engineers harassed amid the spread of online conspiracy theories that link 5G technology with the coronavirus pandemic. 4 mobile tower masts were attacked in the last 24 hours. A spokesperson for the British carrier told CNBC Sunday. It's unclear whether the sites affected were used for 5G because people are fucking stupid. Video footage circulated online last week showing a mast torch in the English city of Birmingham. EE said its engineers were assessing the cause of the fire, adding it was likely arson and that if so, the firm would work with local police to identify the culprit. The tower was not a 5G mast. Quote, this site served thousands of people in the Birmingham area, provided vital 2G, 3G, and 4G connectivity, as it has done for many years, end quote, an EE spokesperson told CNBC. Quote, we will try to restore full coverage as quickly as possible, but the damage caused by the fire is significant, end quote. Meanwhile, a clip also surfaced on Twitter showing a woman harassing telecom engineers laying 5G fiber optic cables. The woman questions why the engineers are working and claims the technology kills people. And then there's a video clip. There are floods of posts on Facebook claiming the coronavirus outbreak was caused by 5G, the 5th generation of mobile internet. Many of the claims center on the idea that the virus originated in Wuhan because the Chinese city has deployed 5G network last year. Sakes! Celebrities have drawn criticism for promoting such claims. UK talent show judge Amanda Holden shared a petition calling for 5G to be banned in a since-deleted tweet, while U.S. actor Woody Harrelson posted about the conspiracy theory on Instagram, claiming, quote, a lot of my friends have been talking about the negative effects of 5G, end quote. But there is no evidence to support those views.
Yeah, well, and I'm fine with celebrities that jump in, to try to help, alleviate some of this conspiracy stuff. Those are perfectly fine. But these like celebrity judge from America's Got Talent or whatever, it's like they just weigh in on this controversy, knowing it's probably going to be detrimental to them. And I have to question what their motive is for that, because they have to realize that there's going to be backlash when you say stupid things, especially on Twitter. These accounts people watch these accounts, these celebrity accounts. And so, within a matter of an hour, you'll see, a page and it'll show all the responses to, a specific tweet. Now, I know a lot of them do it for publicity, negative or otherwise. Attention is attention, but still, I don't see what the benefit is to buy into conspiracy theories for a celebrity. It seems detrimental to their career. I don't get it.
I think there's a few issues. One of them is that how come Facebook hasn't locked that shit down? Isn't Facebook supposedly in the past couple of years said that, oh no, we're going to crack down on conspiracy and fake news and, you know, stuff, people spreading garbage information. What have they done? Where is it? Like, how is this kind of shit like even getting around? Right.
I
So
couldn't tell you.
exactly, this is one of the reasons why I kind of wanted to talk about the video we were watching earlier. This high impact vlogs YouTube channel has 285K subscribers. How is this person like still here? Like their video titles are exposed, fragile global lie, mandatory tests for every American every day or you don't work, Bill Gates' creepy plan for every human on Earth. Here's how desperate they are to control us. Surreal New World Order is destroying America with one signature.
How many views do these get?
30 Surreal World Order has, okay, I'll just hold on. 9 minutes ago, 932 views. Mandatory Test for Everyone has 17K views. Bill Gates' creepy plan, which is 15 hours ago. Like, this is 9 minutes ago, 3 hours ago, 15 hours ago, 20 hours ago, 20 hours ago, 23 hours ago. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 videos just in the past 24 hours. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 videos. 1, 2, 3 videos. 1, 2. Yeah, this person is like posting a lot. So Bill Gates got 37K views. Here's how desperate they are to control us got 25K views. Surreal New Order got 39K views. Trump admin, which was a day ago, so now we've given them a day to get to like go through, 51K views. The video we're looking at has 77,834 views. Let's see how many comments there are. 4,266.
I never finished this book, but I remember some of it. There's a book from Stephen King called Cell. Have you ever heard of it? It's about
no, I'm
cell
not a big
phones.
Stephen King reader.
Yeah, within at the very beginning, there's a pulse that goes out, and people that have their cell phones, it causes them to lose their minds and start like, you know, killing each other and jumping out of buildings and eating people's faces like bath salts and stuff like that. And this is what it makes it sound like, right? This book was out in 2006 or something. So this is what it reminds me of, right? Because I think Stephen King kind of predicted something similar. People thinking there's some kind of conspiracy with cell phones, right?
I mean, there's nothing wrong with like there's reason to be cautious and there's reason to be wary when new technology comes out. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Be patient and pay attention. And there's nothing wrong necessarily with thinking that what the news, like being skeptical about what people are telling you, whether it's the news, whether it's the government, whether it's et cetera, et cetera. Healthy skepticism is good for you. It's smart. Make sure, but when something makes literally zero sense, like there is absolutely zero correlation between 5G and this virus. Zero, none, nada, zip, nothing. Look at all the evidence. It's fucking nothing.
Yeah, I don't even see how they can make a correlation. I mean, we know what the virus is. We have pictures of it. We've seen it. We know its internal structure. We know it's some kind of protein sheath that has like RNA in the middle. We know it has these types of what the hell they're called? Is it the Age2 or age? What the hell's the name of the binding site that they're looking to try to find a cure for by affecting the binding site? But they also know it has like M proteins, G proteins, or E proteins. I mean, we know the structure of it. So, what the hell's that got to do with a cell phone? I don't even see the relationship between that and 5G. But I don't watch these videos, so I don't even know the conspiratorial mindset, right?
Well, like they were saying, 5G was started last year in China, therefore it got the virus. 5G's been around in more than just China, and it only broke out in China until it spread. Why wouldn't it have broken out anywhere else that has implemented 5G? And why did it take so long? Because shit makes no sense.
I don't think a conspiracy theory has to make sense for certain people. I think there's a small portion of the population that their minds are just wired that way. I have a roommate, nice guy, but he buys into a lot of conspiracy theories. I mean, big time.
If you want to buy into conspiracy theory, if you're interested in them and that's your thing, I'm okay with that. If you want to think that lizard people run your government, okay. But when you
That's a
start
fact.
spreading
That's
that
a fact.
information, and that information then has people burning down cell phone towers during a pandemic, what are the people who are on 5G supposed to do? What if they need to call for assistance? What are they supposed to do when now they have no access to internet, no access to any of their family or friends during a pandemic that they suddenly just lost contact to and they don't know why?
Well, that's why those people need to be, arrested and held accountable. I mean, like these people that are leaking things, they're now considered to be terrorists, right? That's a cyber,
right.
terrorist threat. They need to crack down on this stuff. They need people to take it seriously. And if people are just insane, they need to get the mental help that they need, right? So either way, they need to crack down on this stuff. It needs to be taken more seriously.
Yep. So there's no evidence to support those views. British fact-checking charity Full Fact points out that there are many places affected by the disease where 5G infrastructure hasn't yet been developed. Iran, for instance, has not rolled out 5G, but is among the hardest hit countries. On Saturday, British Minister Michelle Gove, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly, labeled the 5G conspiracy theories as dangerous nonsense. Stephen Powis, National Medical Director for England, said they were, quote, the worst kind of fake news, end quote. Quote, I'm absolutely outraged, absolutely disgusted that people would be taking action against the very infrastructure that we need to respond to this health emergency, end quote, said Powis. Quote, it is absolute and utter rubbish, end quote. Britain's Culture Secretary Oliver Dowden will meet with social media companies this week to discuss the spread of disinformation about 5G and COVID-19. A government spokesperson told CNBC. Quote, we have received several reports of criminal damage to phone masts and abuse of telecom engineers apparently inspired by crackpot conspiracy theories circulating online. Those responsible for criminal acts will face a full force of law, end quote, the spokesperson said. I would be curious to see the telecom companies start going after social media websites. Because so far it's only been the government stepping in and saying, no, Facebook, you need to do better. But to see Facebook get sued by a telecom company for the damage that's been done to their towers because of their negligence in spreading false information. Exactly. Now you've got some progress happening. Now you've got something interesting on your hands.
And here's the thing. Let's just use Verizon as an example. Let's say Verizon sues Facebook. How much of Facebook's traffic goes out on Verizon's network?
Exactly.
It's gigantic. And Facebook would have no choice but to say, no, we're not okay, we need to shut this down. We need to find a way. Same thing would go with YouTube and Twitter. Any social networking site is going to have to kowtow to the telecom companies because that's what this whole thing rides on. Literally.
Yeah,
well, you don't have internet without the telecom companies. You don't have internet.
Yeah,
it's not like the telecom companies can't choke and block out specific websites if they really want to.
No, yeah.
They could.
They need to be more responsible. Sure, they can.
They could limit. They could turn off Facebook for all their customers if they wanted to. They could stop you from seeing Facebook and leave everything else there.
There has to be a fine line between ability to speak out and say things and have freedom against certain positions and responsibility. We know certain things are not the case, right? If Facebook had ads for flat earthers, like YouTube says, I think that's wrong. I don't think they should allow ads for flat Earth. I mean, it's just what's the difference in that and then having a scam, right? It's promoting, hey,
well, I mean,
send me $100 for Miracle
PragerU underneath that. You can file PragerU under that, and they just lost that case.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, I don't get why they don't crack down on this stuff, except they're getting paid for it, right? And they're making money off of it. But I think that there's a social responsibility to be had there, because if they're promoting or allowing certain things on their platform, which they know, which by the way, YouTube they're supposed to crack down on that stuff. Whatever happened about a year ago, what'd they do? Did they shut down any channels? Did they demonetize? What they demonetized were the channels fighting flat Earth.
Well, yeah, and on top of that, you ran into a problem where now you've got whereas the conspiracy theories were kind of laughable before, and yeah, misinformation was a problem in the political sphere, but also in like some other things like anti-vaxxers. But now during a pandemic, it's now causing additional problems. It doesn't mean that, like, if Facebook decided to implement an emergency feature that says we are shutting down anything that is linking, we are shutting down any news whatsoever on our site. You can't link out to anything. All you can do is post and talk amongst yourselves. You cannot put any website links to anything at all. As an emergency, it doesn't have to be permanent, but as an emergency to mean that nobody can get any news from Facebook, period. You have to go to the sites. You have to go outside. I don't think they will do that, but what I'm saying is that could be an option for them in the case of this is only during the pandemic. Something that they could take, like that, some kind of responsibility for themselves. Helios57545 says, breaking down infrastructure and communication channels is always a good thing during a pandemic and could never go wrong and cause mass harm. I hope that was enough sarcasm for you. Failed in Engineering for 5 then said, aren't there regulations that prevent internet providers from blocking sites or slow traffic to particular sites? Depends on where you are. Depends on where you are. And it depends on the site.
Yeah, I mean, the whole net neutrality thing was a fiasco. What was it, last year or 2 years
Still
ago?
is.
How long has it been? Yeah, I mean, it's still going on. But I mean, there's a lot to be said for that. I mean, these companies can restrict and bottleneck certain providers and not other providers, and give preference over one to another. I think there's problems with those. Obviously, I think the internet is something that should be have equal access for everybody, and I don't think that certain providers should have higher bandwidth, and then somebody else on a lower spectrum gets a throttle bandwidth. But I'm not a free speech absolutist. I know some people are. Personal positions, right? But I don't think that we have the absolute right to say whatever we want, especially in times of a pandemic where there's safety considerations. I think that's irresponsible. I think there's, again, you can never have 100% safety and 100% freedom. So you've got to have one has to give way for the other. Both of them are not possible in any society. And so you have to weigh the balance. And right now, people that are putting out misinformation, I'm sorry, the platforms that are supporting them or allowing them to have that information on their platforms are contributing to the problem. Absolutely.
Well, yeah, there is something to be said for you can say whatever you want, but not without consequence, right? So if you are spreading this information and your account gets nuked, yeah, exactly. Your account, you're doing it on Facebook, and your account gets nuked. Well, you're spreading misinformation. Now, if you had your own website,
yeah, you can't stop anybody.
Then the domain might pick and choose, right? So it's a weird balance, and it's not an easy one.
Yeah, and the domain could. I mean, the domain could actually do that too. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, there's just a bunch of stuff. Like in Canada, it's really bad because there's realistically only 2 providers. There's a monopoly, but it's a monopoly because these 2. There are 2, so it's not a monopoly as in it's only one, but these 2 have essentially made deals with each other behind closed doors, so that way they're the only. Like Google was supposed to come up to Canada, and they got caught up in red tape by Rogers and Bell because Rogers and Bell are basically the only 2 providers up here, and they both are ass. And we get price gouged like a motherfucker. It's in Parliament, and it's been in Parliament for a couple of years now, and they're trying to fix it. It's just it's complicated. It's a lot, and the priorities, right? They're trying, but it's going to be time before it gets fixed. But somebody made a really good point on Twitter when they said that, well, all of the schools are now being hosted online, which means if people don't have internet, what are they supposed to do? Internet is now a required, just like water and electricity, internet should now fall under those utilities.
Yeah, it's a public. I mean, do you think that some of these things should be public utilities? I mean, like, you think YouTube should be considered to be a public utility?
I think the internet should be. Not necessarily YouTube, but the internet, absolutely.
The providers, though. It's the providers, right? We're talking about the providers. Should they be considered to be public utilities?
I think there would have to be
absolutely.
Arguably,
Absolutely.
Yes,
I think so too. Yeah, I
It is capable of the same thing as the telephone. In fact, the telephone is now a service that runs on the internet, not the other way around.
Correct.
So yes,
Yep.
Right.
the internet should be a utility.
I agree.
I agree that the internet should be a utility, but not the provider. So I think that there would need to be some major adjustments to the providers to give them that kind of a status. So, like, there's Hydro, but the Hydro is the city name Hydro, right? So you would have that base internet for that city. And that city would then use whatever provider that city used, and it would be considered right, and it would run through that. At least in Canada, I don't know how it would work in.
Yeah, well, here, like in America, we have public services. For example, like for waste systems, for water systems, for electricity. These are all public services. Doesn't matter what your company is, whether you're Edison, Southern California Edison, whether you're Imperial Irrigation District, waste reclamation. It doesn't matter what the name of the business, whether it's privately held or governmentally held. They're considered to be public utilities, and under that, they are considered to be necessity for the infrastructure of society, right? So even though if it be a privately held corporation or business or whatever, the fact that they're maintaining the infrastructure makes it a public utility. I would put the internet under that, and the companies under that.
Yeah, I would put the internet under that. I just don't think that every provider would necessarily be able to fall under that, at least in Canada, without changes having to be made. There would be requirements, and they wouldn't be able to price gouge the way they do. It'd be like, this is the minimum that you are required to provide at this amount of rate, and you can't really make those adjustments. There would have to be more regulation to it, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm okay with that too. I mean, but like, for example, like, everybody needs water, right? So the water companies, they're public utility, right? Because you can't survive without water. Electricity is considered to be an essential as well, right? So if you have a house and you don't have electricity and water, it's considered to be uninhabitable, right? Now, I wouldn't put to the level of, obviously, you have to have internet to be habitable. I would never make such a silly argument. But I think that has gotten to the point where the internet, for safety reasons even, has become something that is a necessity as a public utility, right? So, I mean, it's not exactly the same as a municipal or something that would have like a municipal water supply, but it is something similar where, hey, look, for safety reasons, people need to have access to the internet. With the whole like Obama phones, that was because for safety reasons. By the way, that wasn't even Obama; that was a Bush era type thing that came up with that. But I definitely think that one of these days, it by necessity kind of thing that these internet providers are going to be considered and treated as a public utility. It's just a matter of time. Be very surprised if it didn't. So it'd be gas, water, sewage. Yeah, so it's like garbage,
gas, water,
natural gas,
sewage,
water, electricity. Yeah.
Heating. Yeah. If you're depending on how you heat yours.
High speed
either electric or gas,
yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
High speed. I don't see. That's the thing. I don't know if you get high speed.
Yeah, no, hey, look, I get that too, right? If you want a premium, I understand that, but even low speed nowadays is still high speed. I mean, back in my day, 2400 baud was considered to be like, yes, many of those cards, and you hear that connection, the AT2 string, and you hear the handshake. I'll hear that
dial
until I die. Yeah. Well, actually, before that, you might even remember. Maybe some people in the live chat will. There was what's called an acoustic modem. And the acoustic modem is you take the handset, the actual handset of a telephone. Right back in the day, you had like a dial or pad. So you take the handset and you put it in these two things that were audio couplers, and you put the handset in. So it was acoustically sound that had to be transmitted, and it was 300 baud. That was one of the first modems. Yeah. God, I'm old. Back in my day.
Well, yeah, and then oh my god, during the pandemic, the number
how good you have it, man. You don't even know.
The number of people who now have to do their work from home. It should be between school and working.
What? Yeah, well, back in my day, it took an hour to download a nipple. Okay, so you guys don't even know
if it ever did.
The struggle was real. Yeah, and then you get an error, right? Because you're supposed to have these what's called cyclic redundancy checks. Is that what it's called? CRC? Was that what it was, Bull? Cyclic redundancy check? Was that what CRC stood for?
Well, there
Yeah,
were
it's been a long time.
checksums, and then there were cyclic
There's a
redundancy
checksum.
checks.
Yeah. There's also the checksum. So
Those are two
cyclic
different
redundancy-
mathematical processes, but they achieve the same result, which is error detection.
They want to make sure that the messages have been transmitted equally, and that the computer on the receiving end got the message that was actually transmitted, right? So you has this error correction feature, and then when if you get one big mistake in it, the whole thing fails. It just like, or it ends up being the nose looks like the nipple or something. So, that back in the day.
Oh my god, I just clicked over to look at the community post from this guy. I have made an error.
Is it that bad?
If you are a nurse, doctor, EMT, paramedic, or you work in a hospital, please let us know what you're seeing. Is it consistent with what's being reported by mainstream media? Corporate teleprompter readers and print media has been mocking the information gathered by independent journalists who are taking to the streets with their cameras and recording empty hospital parking lots and waiting rooms and interviewing EMTs, paramedics, and ambulance drivers who are telling people, quote, things are not that bad, or, quote, things are slower than usual, end quote. Please send this message to a doctor, nurse, or somebody you know in the health field, bracket, particularly someone who works in a hospital, and bracket. It would be helpful to know which hospital they work in and which city. Thanks, guys. None of us is greater than all of us.
Yeah. So question, why do they believe those people? I mean, if somebody posts on that community chat thing and they say, hey, I'm a nurse and this is what I'm seeing, why believe them? Or a nurse that says, hey, look, I haven't had
the first
day off in 5 days, kind of thing.
The first response says the best cure for coronavirus is turn off the TV. The best therapy I've heard yet, and turn on YouTube. LOL. I've been telling everyone I know the same since day one. I told my cousin set the Den TV off is a fake virus, fake news. Unfortunately, the head in the sand department won't work for this one. That's what they want you to do. Oh my god. After any emergency is over, we lose something important. 100% of your freedom. 100%!
100%. It's all or nothing.
The government's going to tell you what food to eat. After reading these comments, what the heck is going on here? The government has gotten a taste of absolute power and they're not giving it up without a fight. Why? I'm having this really bizarre cognitive dissonance going on here that I'm thinking about, because aren't a lot of these people the people who voted for Trump?
Well, I couldn't tell you.
Like, isn't there because I saw an article that was talking about how there was a not necessarily a correlation, but people who had voted for Trump were more likely to be conspiracy theorists. So I'm curious, because these videos are like the log of videos that this guy has are like anti-government, but not against Trump in any way, shape, or form. So like his deal is against Bates. Trump admits on live TV that C virus was artificially induced. Like,
well, I mean, I do agree that a lot of people have been saying, and this is like a lot of the experts, they're like, stop listening to Trump. In fact, they wanted to not even have his messages broadcast. And in fact, a lot of the news organizations have done the responsible thing and said, we're not even covering this. We're not going to the White House press briefings. We're not allowing Trump to spread misinformation. And I think that's pretty damn responsible.
That's impressive, actually.
There is nothing that I've seen in the Constitution or anywhere else that says there has to be news organizations have to give the president news time. Airtime.
Yeah.
Nothing. Yeah. There's no such thing that I can find. Right. And so I think that when it has been actually shown that he has put out misinformation, that he did not handle this correctly, that he has been, from the beginning, underplaying the severity of these things. And by the way, he wasn't the only one. Dr. Drew, did you follow the story with Dr. Drew? because he did the same
No.
thing. Dr. Drew. Remember Dr. Drew from Loveline? He was saying like last month, oh, this is no big deal. It's no big. The flu's worse. This is over dramatic things from the news. And he was one of those people that just harped on that. And then he outright, and I hate to say he lied, but he was outright just changed the story and said, well, recently he was like, well, we were saying from the very beginning that this was going to be a huge thing and this was going to be worse than the flu. And people were like, well, no, we for months you were saying, telling people don't worry about it. You're going on news organizations saying don't worry about it. He has recently, though, I just found out like yesterday, changed everything. He's like, you know what, I messed up. I was completely wrong. I had it wrong. Listen to the experts, social distance, and now he's all on board. Right. And I don't know if he fell on his sword per se, because I read what he said and it wasn't very humbling to me, but at least he realized he was wrong. But at the same time, for months, he was saying, hey, this is going to be no big deal. It's just going to be, it's just a variation of the flu, which is not. It's not. It's somewhat distant cousin, I guess, to the rhinovirus. But I mean, yeah, it's irresponsible. And, so when Trump is out there saying these things that we know are completely irresponsible, I don't think we should give airtime. That's just personally.
Well, it's the same thing as like there was a compilation that the Daily Show put out that was a compilation of like the dates of when Fox and Friends had been saying, the virus isn't this, oh, it's not this, it's not a big deal, da 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 da. And then at the end it was like, no, we've always taken this seriously. And it's like Trump and Fox News, and it was just a compilation of all of that, where it's like, yeah, no, you didn't, you told people the opposite. So it's like it's a bizarre. I don't get this. This is so strange to me. This is so. My brain does not with this. It's not jiving. Yeah, it's not jiving because you're getting like a bunch of conspiracy theorists who are anti-government, but are like, but Trump though. How is this not? Well, coronavirus is a scam made by the government to try and take our freedoms. Trump's a good guy, though. He's totally not part of all that. Right? I don't get it. I don't understand. So, I don't know. I would like to see that maybe brought on. Also, I would also like to see, what was it we were talking about? We were talking about dreams. When we were talking about dreams, I would love to bring somebody on to talk about that, like somebody who actually does interpret dreams, and maybe talk to them at some point. That'd be cool. Do we know anybody like that?
Dream interpretation? No. I could probably. I could look into some. I'll see what I can find out.
Bars and restaurants with 30 people can't operate, but Walmart and Costco with thousands of people in it stay open. Think about that. Where is that happening? UPS, FedEx, and Amazon.
I've been around down here, and it's horrible down here. And I live in the middle of nowhere. I can't imagine what it's like in a city.
Oh my god, somebody with half a brain cell, maybe? Those are considered essential, whereas bars not so much. However, I do think it's ridiculous that they don't make the same fuss about so many people gathered to get groceries. Okay, in Canada, they are making a fuss. They're only allowed to have a certain number of people in the grocery store at a time, and there's lineups outside, and those lineup areas are marked out there's lines that have been drawn onto the ground, so that way you can be in these spots, so that way you are at least 6 feet away from each other standing within these boxes. So yeah. No, I don't want to call in a psychologist. I want to talk to somebody who thinks that you can actually interpret dreams.
Yeah, I'll find somebody. Like I said, there's a couple different things I want to reach out to, and I want to like get some people on. I want to get a tarot reader. I want to get an astrologer. I want to get, I wouldn't mind going to that woo stuff a little bit. I think it's entertaining. But I want to get people that like nobody's ever heard of before, right? I mean, we're going to be getting new people into the community eventually. It's just right now, again, spinning in place, in neutral for a while because of CV-19.
The beasts have planned this a long time back to bring down the economy so they can begin the new world order. They want us shaking in our boots, sit down and do as we're told, or else. Where?
Back to the new world order.
People get
What is
out,
this,
get
1985
out
all
onto
over
your
again?
balconies and pray the Our Father from the top of your lungs because these beasts fear Christians in prayer. Stop singing, stop the singing, pray together outside, all your voices together to keep the evil demons back
The-
off.
These pastors are getting the virus. These religious people are getting the virus. They're going to congregations and they're getting the virus. I mean, God clearly isn't stopping that, right? So
We
I
are
don't
not
think that
dealing
really is
with
a viable solution.
we are not we are not dealing with flesh and blood but principalities. God is the one who truly loves and cares for us, not our demon rulers. God bless you all and don't be deceived by these demons. Lizard men.
Lizard men. Yeah, I haven't heard New World Order for a very long time. That was much more prevalent back in the 80s and 90s.
What the
No one ever even knew
this
what it meant
comment
either, right?
section? If any of this was real, then China should have had 10 million plus cases before America even saw one. It's all script. What?
By the way, these are the ones that catch the virus and probably end up dying. And it's just, at that point, I got to tell you, it's Darwinian, mechanisms in action. I don't have much sympathy for people that are like that. I just don't. I mean, Cheshire is the one that's not empathetic, but I do have empathy. But there's a point where my empathy just stops. And it stops at people like that are actively saying things that are going to cause harm to people. And if they were the ones that this virus affects and they died from it, I'm just really not going to shed that much of a tear. And if people want to think that I'm non-empathetic because of that, that's fine. But
I
it's to me, it's vile.
This is like I don't take the vaccine, don't get on the train or bus, and never let them take your guns. Shoot the virus.
Here's a fun fact. During Sandy Hook, gun sales went up tremendously. They went up to like 2 million sales in America, right? And do you know how many? It's been the last time I looked, it was 1.9 million sales from COVID. 1.9 million gun sales. It's almost the same as, and it's probably over Sandy Hook now. But if you look at the graph, there's only 2 times that gun sales were extremely high like that: Sandy Hook and now COVID. And I mean, there was one funny video. I watched this one. I don't know if you saw it. It was a very small clip, but the guy was just like, I really didn't have like much money to spend or something like that, but I needed some groceries, and I went to the parking lot, and I just, I saw these people with shopping carts just overflowing with groceries, and I couldn't believe how nice they were when I asked them, do you have anything you can spare? And they started giving me all these different things, and then all of a sudden you see he has this like 9mm gun. He's pointing to the things, like they gave me a loaf of bread, and they gave me some cheese, and they gave me some from some chips, and I was like, restored my faith in humanity. It's like sitting there pointing with a gun. I was like, that's brilliant. That's freaking brilliant. That stuff's funny. I think that's hilarious.
But how dangerous is that? Oh, well, supplies are running low on food now because this pandemic's getting worse because our government isn't handling it well or handling it properly. There's a bunch of misinformation out now, and everyone's got guns.
People are killing each other for toilet paper. What are you gonna do when it's food? I mean, if this whole thing hasn't shown people the depravity of humanity, I don't know what will. I mean, this is what I'm saying. I am not a big fan of humanity when it comes to these things. I think, and I like to believe that most people are ethical. I'm finding out that's not the case. I think it's actually probably more or not in worldwide, at least. I mean, if you look in the averages, because of shitty people worldwide, but because of these things, you see the actual base nature of humanity, and it's disgusting. I mean, another little video that I watched, I think is brilliant, where the guy, he wheels out that pallet full of, like 9 and 12 packs of toilet paper or something, and all of a sudden you see people just like clawing at it, and it has the background music from Walking Dead, like
yeah.
like that.
I don't understand. I don't think, like, if we want to talk Second Amendment, the Second Amendment doesn't mean what people say it means. It's for militia. It's not for every person who wants toilet paper and to take it into a Walmart. It's for fighting against your government. And for first off, there is no way in hell that you with your gun on your property is going to be able to fight the American government. You know, that
That's
thing
true.
that you're so proud
Yeah,
that they
true.
spend so much money putting into, and yet you're like, no, I gotta keep my shotgun because I'm going to stop the military and I protect myself from the government.
I find with the Second Amendment, a lot it was for a well-regulated militia, right? I mean, there was conscription back in those days too, but the whole thing was that the Supreme Court has determined, and again, there's even though there's constitutionality, there's also precedent through the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has interpreted that very liberally, right? And so we have to go by what the Supreme Court is, because that is the law of the land, even though it's constitutionally based. There has been statute and rulings and Supreme Court cases that have determined that it's not just for well-regulated militia, it's not for just being able to like own firearms as to fight, right? Because it wasn't back then. They had, if I remember, they had armories, and people had to go to the armory to get their weapons, and they got signed out to them, and then they wanted to have it stored in their houses. The courts have determined that we have a right as citizens of the United States to protect ourselves. Now, do I think there should be limitations to that? Yes, and I have changed a little bit my position of that over the years, because I don't think everybody needs something like an AK-47 or
So
an AR-15.
the Supreme Court, after the fact, making a determination is not the same as what it was intended when it was written.
Correct.
If they want to make that decision after the fact and currently, that's totally fine. You guys are allowed to make that decision and make that arguable change or go with that interpretation instead. That's fine. But that's not going to help you against your American military. Either way, it's still not going to do what a lot of people think it's going to do. The only thing it's going to do is, in a pandemic and in a situation like this, you're going to have people running around with guns in a Walmart fighting over toilet paper, which is exactly what is fucking happening.
Yeah, I mean, you saw Red Dawn, right? It could be like Russians invading us.
But I'm not talking about what's happening in movies. I'm talking about what's currently happening right the fuck now. And because there are other countries that allow guns, sure, but the regulations are in place to make sure the people who do have guns are responsible gun owners, and America doesn't have that.
Right, I know, I agree with that. They definitely need to up their game on responsibility. Like the two news stories that I've read, one was with this nurse. He was a nurse, and he killed his girlfriend, who was a doctor, because he thinks she gave him COVID-19. And then another case where the man killed himself, and his wife and himself, because he thought they were both infected.
This shit is already happening.
Scary.
And it's because people are scared. And when people are scared, particularly in America, they go and they get guns. People were scared during Sandy Hook. They went and got guns. People are scared now. They went and they bought guns. But what is the purpose of the gun you're buying? What is the purpose of it? You're not going to shoot the virus. You're not going to be able to fight the military. What's it for? Is it for protecting yourself because you think people are going to go crazy and try and steal from you during the pandemic? Well, why? Why do you think people are going to do that? Because you're afraid that they also have guns. This is a circulating problem that just stacks on top of itself because what the fuck?
Yep. And like I said, I'm look, we have guns here. Like I said, my Landner's a big avid gun collector. He's got a revolver. I think he's got a Glock.
There's nothing wrong with having guns.
Yeah, I mean, I had shotguns. It's kind of fun the other day because he goes out hunting and he has this whole box of shells of stuff, right, that he's collected by going out there. And I was going through the other day. I was like, this is cool. This is a 45 millimeter. This is a 9 millimeter. This is a 22. This is it's cool. I was looking at him like, this is actually like really cool, and I'll have to show you guys the collection that it's just a box, right? It's not even a collection. It's a box of them. But I thought it was really interesting by looking and saying, here's like a 45 short compared to like a 45 long. Here's a 44, and it's like so minuscule difference. But maybe we'll do that one day. We'll do a show on ammo. We'll get somebody in here that kind of knows the differences. But
and I'm totally down to talk Second Amendment and rights and where they should go and what issues there are and what issues there aren't. The problem isn't owning guns. The problem isn't access to guns. The problem is the regulations around those guns. And when people are scared, this is the kind of shit that happens, and people get killed. People that are getting killed for no reason and should not be getting killed. The only reason they're dying is because guns. Because the person who is scared and the person who's losing it has a gun.
Yeah, I agree.
This quote says, "Shut in and shut up." Shut in and shut up package will come with strings. A carrot on a string. So-called founding fathers were all Freemasons. George Washington, a Freemason. The man who told you we are all created equal. We're all in secret society groups where by no means they believe we are all created equal. The country/land was stolen from Native Americans, and what do? They make a national holiday out of theft and murder, calling it Thanksgiving. We were always slaves. They are just now taking off their masks and showing who they really are. Until they mess with the internet and or utilities, no one will be broken out of their spell.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know about strings attached because people aren't telling you to shut up about it. You can still have conversations. You can still talk about it. Shut in is kind of a misnomer, I think. It's not quite a representation of what's going on. I have no idea about founding fathers and Freemasons. I do think it's hypocritical, but George Washington didn't plant flags over here. George Washington was fighting Europe, not Native Americans, right? If I'm understanding properly. Am I remembering that history correctly? It's American history, so I'm forgive me for being slightly wrong.
I'm not the historian here. Yeah, history is not my jam.
Yeah, there's some things in here that don't quite read right to me, and you still, even if you stole all the land, you kind of still need to form a government. And that's still kind of a good basis for a government. All people created equal is a pretty good starting point, in my opinion. Even if you're a horrible hypocrite and you own slaves, at least it's still a good starting point to build off of after the fact. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Do I know? This comment section is a nightmare. I did see a post that was really sad. It was a lady posting about how COVID-19 was garbage and it was all made up and it was all bullshit and like you shouldn't follow it and da-da-da-da-da, conspiracy stuff. And then like a week later posted that her aunt had died from it and that it was serious. And it really sucks if that's what it takes for you to not spread bullshit. Is for it to happen to you.
It usually does something like that, right? Usually when something affects them in some way personally, right?
You're right. Kilios575 for 5 said, MIB put it beautifully. A person is smart, people are dumb, panicky, and dangerous animals. Yes. Yeah, Kay said that in the very first Men in Black movie. I agree. That is a good one. Do we have anything else we want to cover today? That was a lot.
I think that's a lot, yeah.
Look out for these kinds of conspiracy level bullshittery. The best way to recognize it is a jump in conclusion or when they're enforcing one conclusion when it could be other things. Please tell me we're not going to cover jelly juice. Please no. I did hear somebody who was desperate was trying to drink it to cure COVID COVID, but I didn't look into that story. I was like, oh Jesus, no, please. Steve, did you hear about that?
The jelly juice what?
Somebody who got desperate was drinking jelly juice to cure COVID.
Jelly juice for COVID?
Yeah.
Oh, I hadn't heard that one. That one's new to me.
Oh God. I can't. Well, we're like 10 minutes out. Does anybody have any questions? We should do questions and then wrap up for the last 10 minutes. Right, so anybody's got questions?
There's a little time delay there.
I do like when we brought up guns, a couple of people ran away and called us propaganda. That's funny. Jen Vans for $1.99 gave us thumbs up sticker.
Yay.
Thumbs up stickers.
Thank you, Jens. I guess that means they like the video.
Hopefully. I hope that means they like the video.
Yeah.
We're going to have to wait a second for chat to catch up for questions. Do you have anything going on later this week?
Yeah, I guess we can't do this because every time I do this, people think we're like loving Nazis or something like that now.
It's potatoes.
Yeah.
It's potatoes. It's communism.
It's
The
testicles.
motherland. It's testicles. Dicks. I like this one. This one's cute. A little heart.
Oh, I don't think I can do that.
I've been
But, like,
fixing
wait.
my nails, so I was picking at my nails a lot because I was pulling off all the. Okay, correction. George Washington fought in the French Indian War prior to the American Revolution. Oh, neat. I didn't know that. How doth one draw a goblin? Oh, so yeah, so that's something that I'm doing today. I'm going to do it after this show. So if you swing on over to my channel, I will be putting that. I will be making that available. I'll probably be doing it in about a half an hour. So probably at about 4:30, I'll be going live, and I'm going to teach everybody how to draw the goblin. And so that'll be fun. So you'll be able to draw your.
What time is that?
4:30 my time. So a half an hour after we're done here.
All right.
Just because I have to do with
live.
the setup and I gotta flip everything over.
Yeah, all right. Next time. I'll talk it up probably. I will be going live around 5 or 5:30 with a guy named Mark Craig. What's his name? Mark Craig. Is it? What's his name? Craighead. Yeah, Mark Craighead. He was the admin for a group called Atheism Philosophical Insiders. A long time ago that I had talked about, one of the groups I was removed from, and he was one of the admins involved with that, and he has 100%, I guess, changed his position, and now
Oh wow.
has realized that group has like gone full, I guess, crazy tard, I guess, and that he realized that I was more correct than that they were trying to vilify me, and I guess he kind of did stand up for me a little bit, and I guess he's now realizing that my arguments have merit. And he's getting into philosophy and he's learning about stuff. And so he wants to come on and kind of tell his story. And so I was like, oh, absolutely. Because we butted heads. I mean, this guy and I butted huge heads because I was like,
Right.
you're an admin and you're shutting down conversation really because you don't understand the arguments. I'm like, that is not appropriate. And so, they were just trying to find a way to get me out of the group kind of thing, just like this last group kind of thing. But I think he's changed his position. And that to me is, obviously what the goal is. And, this is the content that I want to put out, right? This is what when I change the mind of somebody, because they want to learn philosophy better, they want to become better at critical thinking, they want to become better at reasoning, and not use fallacies in argumentation and not use argument by meme and all this other stuff. That to me is a huge win. Look, other content creators could sit there and bash on other content creators and strum up drama. Not interested in that. Couldn't care less, right? That's their shtick. But how many of them could say they've actually influenced people? Probably not a lot. Now, a lot of the big names, sure, but these smaller YouTube channels are just using my name for views. I don't think a single one of them has ever influenced anybody to change any position or educated them in any way.
So
None
what
of
you're
them.
telling me is that I need to put how to draw the goblin,
Steve exposed.
Steve McRae, Steve exposed, and we're gonna
Yes.
draw a goblin version of Steve.
My favorite one.
So I'll
I
show
guess,
you how to draw the initial goblin, and then we'll do a Steve version.
My favorite one that's prevalent, because I've seen it a few times, is like evidence Steve doesn't want you to see.
Evidence Steve doesn't want you to see. Look, I told you Steve is also a goblin. You guys didn't listen to me. Here's what we'll do
it's
then.
funny when I see that, I think they have like my nudes or something. See, then again, I don't care. Whatever.
So, here's what we'll do
I don't
is-
body shame. I don't give a shit. It's a prude.
I'm gonna go live over at my channel and we'll just hang out there. I'll draw the goblin. I'll show you guys how to draw goblins. I'll draw a goblin version of Steve. And we can hang out in there, do that, and
Look at my
wait
avatar
for
for a
when
while.
Steve goes live on his channel then. So, Steve, if you want to swing by my channel when you're ready to go and drop the link, we'll wrap up over there and we'll all head over there, over there. So, essentially, what you're getting...
It's not till 9 o'clock.
We're getting a triple dip today. We're getting a triple dip. We're getting Caffeine Corner, then we're getting an art stream with me and Goblins, then we're getting a philosophy talk with Steve and interview conversation over there. Well, I guess here, because that'll be on your channel, right?
Depending on what it looks like, I might use your image for a temporary avatar thing. If I could steal it from you without paying a commission fee.
Steal it. Yeah.
I
got a really big bill sitting over here, a really big bill and receipt for Kyle for all the times he's been using my image that I drew.
Yeah, I heard that.
I can
Right?
retroactively charge him for that, right?
He makes free music that he wants to have a consignment for or something. Yeah. Okay. brilliant, man.
And we did get one question. It says,
yeah, go ahead.
did you hear that the UK Prime Minister has been moved to the ICU? Do you think this will shut up the idiots? No, I don't think it'll shut up the idiots. I think idiots are impossible to shut up. Yeah, they'll just argue about something else. The powers that be didn't really want that guy in power, so they got rid of him.
Yeah, I don't think they're not, unless most people are not going to have any real awakening until something happens personally to them, right? Until you have had a tragedy in your family. I hate to say it, my life changed when my dad passed. It really did. It was like a line of demarcation. Things had totally been different when he passed. Even though I knew it was coming, I told my mom for 6 months prior, he's not going to make it to the end of the year. I spoke to his doctors. I went to his doctor's appointment. I knew he was going to pass away eventually, pretty soon. And she was going through denial, right? She admitted later on that she even was in denial of it. But it was a turning point. Now, can you imagine if I was some kind of conspiratard and I was like, people don't die from this kind of thing, right? He had coronary pulmonary artery disease, and he had aspirations in the lungs and a few other issues, high blood pressure, hypertension, and diabetes. But if I said, hey, you know what, these are all just made up things, and then you have somebody who passes away because of them, it does change, a person's opinion, because they literally happen. Not always, right? But I think it takes something like that to really shock a person to go, maybe I was wrong about this, right? It's unfortunate. And by the way, no, I never advocated those are not real things, by the way.
Somebody said, Mr. P said, that's kind of true. Boris is a buffoon. So I'm just better at conspiracy theories than a lot of conspiracy theorists.
So, and that's okay. Some people are conspiratorial minded. Well, at least they can think like one. I have a hard time thinking like one. So I keep her around for. She probably can think more like that. Because I usually even say, hey, I never thought about that. I try to look at things at all angles, but I look at angles from an honest point of view. And it's when I think about something, I was like, shit, you're right. I can look at it from somebody who's just a piece of shit. This is how they're going to look at it and take it out of context.
It makes perfect sense. They're liars.
You got to look at it from somebody, how idiot's going to take this. God damn it. You're right.
Yeah, some bitch, I'm screwed. That's okay. There's probably going to be like a narrative running around now that I'm all about propaganda, about taking people's guns away and blah, 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 blah. It's like, no, I live in Canada. The way we view things here is different. Surprise, surprise. It's not propaganda. Surprise, surprise. I'm not trying to change your mind and tell you that you shouldn't have guns. At what point did I say you shouldn't have guns? I just question your reasoning for why you have guns, and
that's what's the point? About. I believe I like having guns. I don't have any now that I own, but there are reasons why. But like I said, I think the main thing is there is such thing as overkill. The type I gun have, my favorite gun was a Browning Buckmark. It's a 9mm Browning Buckmark, is about yay big, shoulder holster, nice weapon, very nice weapon. And I also had a Derringer 2-shot that I had usually in my back, but that was a really poor.
It makes so much more sense to have a gun in America because the system is built on having guns. But don't you see that as a capitalist issue? You have an issue where the system is creating its own market.
Yeah, to some degree. Yeah, there's especially go to Texas, right? It's definitely that is a marketable thing. Matter of fact, there are some counties. I think it's actually, I don't know if it was New Hampshire or Rhode Island or somewhere. Some of these smaller counties that, and maybe even Texas. I don't remember the exact areas, but if you didn't own a firearm, in order to move into the county, they would issue you one. This is not hyperbole.
That's so bizarre to me. I don't my brain doesn't get. I don't get why. Why would you? Who thought this was a good idea? Oh my god. Okay.
It's like an ordinance that everybody has to own a weapon.
I would also like to point out that I was also very specifically talking about the group of people who are like, no, I need my gun to keep me safe from the government. Your gun is not going to keep you safe from your government. That's bullshit.
I think that's a bad argument too, right? I agree with you there. I think the
governments have tanks and nuclear weapons and missiles and all kinds of shit that would put you make any gun you could own as a private citizen.
Yeah,
Just
I
look
don't buy
it's
that.
ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Thank you, God.
Yeah, I
But
agree
no,
with that.
no,
I think
propaganda.
for personal defense, for home defense, I don't have a problem with that. Again, responsible gun ownership is number one. You need to take a firearm safety class. You understand, gun safety. How to probably take apart your weapon, how to put it back together again, how to clean it, how the simple rules of a weapon never pointed at anybody, how to store it, that kind of stuff. And people are responsible. You don't find
training
many
how to
stories,
actually fire it properly.
most stories you find are by irresponsible gun owners, right? You don't find a lot of them like, oh, this person was carried for 20 years and all of a sudden he went on a shooting spree. You don't find
or somebody had their gun
stolen.
Somebody had their gun stolen from them, particularly if you're talking about school shootings.
Yeah, a lot of times that's because of improper storage, right?
The gun manufacturer thought that was a great idea and then made it happen. And then Manya's asking about the gun lobby is strong in some states. No question mark. Yes, it is. What is it? The NRA? NRA. That's the right. The initial NRA.
The National Rifle Association.
Yeah, they're huge in like how many. Like, you should really be questioning your governor. If your governor's like, if a high percentage of their income is coming from the NRA.
Yeah.
You don't think that's, I don't understand. No, we need the guns to protect us from the government, as the guns pay the government to put things in so we can have more guns. You want a conspiracy theory? You're welcome. There you go.
No, look, I am not a fan of the NRA. Absolutely not. I think they are a political organization that I think they've gone way too extreme. But I'm not a fan of like PETA for the same reasons. I'm not a fan of civil liberty, the ACLU either for the same reasons. All these organizations may have started off with good intentions. They're not good organizations any longer. And people are like, you're against the ACLU? Yeah, they're a good organization nowadays. So it's PETA.
And the question is at any point in what I said, did I say you shouldn't have guns?
Well, somebody's going to take. That's one of the prime things in any kind of argumentation, especially gun. Take people out of context, right? Or say, oh, well, you're arguing that we shouldn't have guns. You're like, well, no, I never argued. I get that daily. I just got it like literally before we went on air. People say like, Steve, you argue this. I'm like, when the hell have I ever argued that? I don't know what the hell you're talking about. That's never been one of my arguments. Oh, you do that all the time. Okay, can you give me an example? And they don't.
Look, I'm just providing you, if you want to have a conspiracy theory that might actually hold some water, look into like where money from the NRA is being spent, where it is, and why you get consequences like the ones that you do. That is far more like, has more grounding, if nothing else. Helio said, I heard someone talk about needing their gun to fight the government. I pointed out that drones fly higher than what you could see them and fire a missile that could target your cup of coffee. But these are the same people. This is what boggles my mind. The people who are like, oh, I need my gun to fight the government, are the same people who are like, yes, put more funding into the military. I don't understand it. I don't. My brain.
Well, let's do that. Let's end before.
We've been live for longer than 2 hours. We should get off.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just losing my mind. We've gone way off topic.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching this conspiratorial crap. Watch her in about an hour or half hour from now, and then like I said, I'll be back about 5:30 with Mark, and that should be pretty fun. I think that's going to be a good hangout because again, I like to talk to people that have changed the position because I haven't really talked about why he changed his position. I haven't got that far back because I was like,
I'm looking forward to this.
I want to hear it in real time. I mean, I'm one of those people that I like spontaneity, right? I mean, this is what Cheshire and I seem to be actually something that we have a skill set for. A lot of the stuff is spontaneity, right? So I want to have these conversations in real time and not have prep work and not know why he changed his mind. I'm just like, you know what, show up, just have a conversation. I'm not worried about what's said.
Is this going to be like a little bit more open? Will people be able to come in and ask questions, or are you keeping it?
No, I'm not. Yeah, be open. That's fine.
Because I'm kind of curious. I might swing by. I mean, I'm going to swing by, but I might come in if that's an option and just
fine.
Be like,
absolutely.
Hey.
I just haven't decided whether I'm going to use Discord or Meets or something, so I got to figure that out.
Okay, sounds good. So I will be going live. I'll be going live as soon as I can get my stuff finagled, because I have to like change my plugs and my screen. My setup is a nightmare. My setup right now is a goddamn nightmare. I would kill for like a proper office space, and I will be working on that, after this COVID stuff is set up and I can actually potentially set up a living space. That would be great. But until then, it's going to take me like maybe a half an hour to set up. So I will see you over on my channel, and then we will hang out, and then we will pop on over here back to Steve's channel for his conversation. I think that'll be good. That'll be good.
Awesome. Sounds good. All right, guys. Good night. Stay safe and social distance yourself like we're going to do right now. We're distancing ourselves from you.
Goodbye.